Hello, everyone. It's Bob Turner again with our episode 4 of our podcast. We're calling it Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things. And I'm sitting here with an extraordinary guy. He's a friend of mine. His name is Jamie Logan. Jamie is an Army veteran, a father, a husband, a triathlete, a swimmer, a surfer, a runner, goddamn good sales guy at work, bodybuilder. He and his wife, Nikki, are staples at Foley's Fitness Center over in Scarborough. They're there about every day. He lives in Biddeford. What, dog and a couple of cats?
One cat and one dog.
Yep. Jamie's a flamboyant guy, if you haven't picked up on that already. He can wear some things that if I threw on, I'd probably have to fight my way out of some places. But he's always looking good. He's a sharp-dressed man. He's a 21-year employee of Right Express. And I just thought he'd be an interesting guy to have on the show and talk about, particularly because in 2018, Jamie was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And I wanted to talk about how that's changed his life and more importantly, how it hasn't changed his life and how he continues to just grind it out day in and day out. He's been an inspiration to me, and I know he's been an inspiration to many people. So welcome. Thanks for coming. Thanks
Absolutely.
for being on.
Appreciate it.
Take a minute and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh boy, that's an open-ended question. Kind of after the great introduction, I mean, that's kind of where it all starts. Got diagnosed with Parkinson's, and obviously that was a big kick right below the belt when I found that out. But the signs and symptoms were kind of coming along, years beforehand. So I kind of had something. I knew something was going on. And
what were the first indicators?
The first thing was really my foot was dragging. So when I would walk, like my left foot would drag across the floor, and then I started having problems with work, being able to type, where my last two fingers weren't really hitting the buttons, or like if I would type an A, 15 A's would show up.
Yeah.
And so initially I thought, geez, with the weightlifting, the swimming, and being an athlete for my whole life, I just figured it was like a pinched nerve or something was going on. And what really was the thing that the biggest catalyst for me to go to the doctor to get checked out is we actually went dancing. And one thing you forgot is I'm an excellent dancer.
I did leave that out.
We went
There's probably a few other things too, but we'll get to them.
So we went dancing at Bubba's, and my feet weren't moving. And I looked at Nikki and I said, something's wrong. Like, I've done this dance move millions of times, and my body just was not working. So literally that was a Saturday night, called the doctor on Monday, went in, and that was the start of the rest of part 2 of my life, I guess, pre-Parkinson's diagnosis, and then where we're at now.
That night at Bubba's, that wasn't the night they asked me to leave early, was it?
I don't believe so.
Well, good.
It could have been, but I don't believe so.
I think there's still a picture of me hanging up down there.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, that had to be tough. I mean, you were 45 at the time, 43?
Yeah, I'm 46 now, and I think it was like 4 years ago, so I was 42, 43, so certainly way on the early onset Parkinson's spectrum. Typically when I go to the neurologist, the people are in their 60s, 70s or older, so I go rolling in there, and it's not a common disease for people at my age to have.
No, it isn't. It's and Parkinson's is something that's touched my family. My grandmother had it.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, had it, and it was rough. I watched my dad struggle with keeping her home for the last 20 years of her life, and I think she was 64. And I remember as a kid, I could see, we went over one day and I could see her hands shaking like that. And we were trying to figure it out. And, but yeah, it's not pretty, it's not fun, and it's hard to watch, and when I heard that you had been diagnosed, it was kind of a gut punch. But then I still saw you at the gym, and then I saw you still, and I'm like, well, what do you think? The guy's gonna just stop living?
No.
And then I heard you made a post and you sold your motorcycle. So it's been kind of I've seen you do a lot of really good things and kind of stay with it and keep good perspective. But then there's been some times where you've probably had some real lows.
Yeah, I mean, to coin from one of my favorite movies, Shawshank Redemption, I mean, get busy living or get busy dying. I mean, I really just, I had some pretty down times when it first happened because, you're really stripping away a lot of the stuff that you love to do. I mean, like Bob was saying, I mean, I used to do triathlons, but, with this, just not going to happen. Had a motorcycle, we would go riding, and I had it I finally got one after wanting one for a long time, rode a couple of years, then got diagnosed, rode I think one more season, and then was it last year? Basically took the bike out and got off and told Nikki, I said, I gotta get rid of this thing because either I'm gonna kill myself or I'm gonna kill us, or you're gonna get hurt, I'm not gonna get hurt, and then I'll never be able to live with myself if I was an idiot knowing that I had this disease and that I have problems and then, you know, didn't get rid of the motorcycle. So that was tough. The one good part though is I actually did get to do my last ride with my father, who's had a motorcycle since he was 15. So that was actually kind of bittersweet, but yeah, I had to get rid of that. I had to stop doing the triathlons. So there's a lot of stuff that I've had to, you know.
Still driving?
I can still drive, and it's funny, we actually have a WRX, which is a standard, which is probably good and bad because it at least if it, you know, allows me to continue to use my foot and to, you know, continue to use my body, which is really important in this disease. But there are times where, you know, my foot's just not working, and
Yeah.
I have a foot brace that I have to wear, an AFO brace, which makes it difficult too. So I've just had to change and modify a lot of the different things that I used to do and find ways to get around them and to try and continue to do as many or as things as I used to do, but just finding different ways to do them now.
So you're 4 years into it or so, and
Yeah, about that.
from what I remember about the disease, my grandmother had it, was it that you don't stop it, that you can slow it down. And is that still the case? Are they slowing it down
Yeah.
for you, or do you feel like it's just having a natural progression?
It's definitely got a natural progression. You know, when people ask me and I talk about my condition, I mean, I say it's like a science experiment because between the meds, between my routine of the day, I mean, you could see me at 8 o'clock Monday and I'm doing all right, and then 8 o'clock on Tuesday and I'm doing terrible. So there's really no set schedule. There's really no set good day, bad day. It's really up and down on a day-to-day basis, but the progression doesn't stop. I mean, I've definitely realized that there's a lot of things that are much worse now than they were before. My balance has gotten extremely bad. You know, poor Nikki has to catch me every now and again because, you know, if I'm standing there, I'll start falling backwards or have to grab the wall. And, you know, sleeping's terrible. You know, I have to take edibles at night because otherwise I just can't sleep. So there's a lot of different stuff that's part of it. I mean, it really affects kind of every aspect of my life between sleeping, walking, my memory, talking, all of it.
So that's rough. So every day is an adventure.
It literally is. I mean, you know, if we go out and do something for the day, I mean, I may the next day, if it's on a weekend, I may fall asleep and take a 3 or 4 hour nap.
Pay for it.
Right. So, you know, I feel bad for her, but, you know, I mean, it's just, if I need rest, I need rest. The other thing I'll tell people is like, I have a set amount of energy. Before, when I didn't have Parkinson's, I could continue to go and go and go and push and stay up for, you know, all day, all night, and then get up and go do whatever. Where now it's like, I have to rest, and just part of my day to day.
How has it affected work? I said, you know, you mentioned your typing and things.
Yeah.
What kind of modifications have you had to make, and how has it affected your performance, if at all?
Yeah, funny thing is I mean, my performance has been great. I mean, I've actually been the top revenue producer the last 3 years, but I mean, it comes at a price. I mean, when work is done, I'm cashed out. I'm ready to go to bed. As far as, you know, things that I've had to do to be able to continue to do my job, I had to get talk-to-type software, which basically equates to I have to turn a microphone on, and then I can speak into my computer, and then it will type out what I say, good and bad, because of course, you know, when I look at the thing and it's saying a bunch of swear words or other things that I didn't want it to say,
Go back and fix it.
Yeah, better backspace that and not send that out, because that's going to get me in trouble. But it's been a godsend. I mean, my work's been very, you know, they've been very good about it. I mean, when I've had to get different stuff or a stand-up station, they had no problems with doing that. But it does make it a lot more difficult because my left hand, I just literally can't type with it, really.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, if I'm trying to, you know, be quick and speedy about doing stuff, it's never that. It takes me much longer.
Yeah. And I just read yesterday that both of you guys are actually among like top performers and award winners at WEX in your roles.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we both won the Apex Award, which is 125% a plan. I actually won top revenue in the company for the sales that I do. And then I was also nominated for the Pinnacle Award, which is like the highest award that the company gives for salespeople. So, you know, it's good and it's bad because, you know, if people aren't performing, it's kind of like, oh, geez, you know, what the hell are you doing? I mean, I can only type one-handed, and, you know, I have all these problems, and it's, you know, it's like, but
Perspective.
Yeah.
Your perspective is amazing, and it's inspirational. I don't know what to say other than that. Do you have days where you're just angry?
I'd be lying if I said I didn't. You know, I have a great support system. I mean, Nikki's been amazing through all of this. I mean, I have great friends and stuff, but, you know, yeah, it's tough. I mean, you know, if I were to take a snapshot of myself 5 or 10 years ago and then look at myself now, it's funny because, you know, people will be like, well, geez, you know, if you looked at me, you never know it. But if you watch me walk, or, you know, if you're around me enough, you know, you obviously know something's going on. A friend of mine that I went to high school with, I hadn't seen him in years, and we went to dinner, and I left to go to the bathroom, and he said to her, he was like, Jesus, is something the matter? You know, because he didn't know, because just my motions and stuff are really slow. So people know. I mean, when I changed gyms from Worlds to Foleys, people from Worlds came to Foleys, and a couple people actually stopped me and asked me, they're like, is everything all right? Because they could clearly see that there was something wrong. I mean, physically, I looked the same, but just my normal motions and stuff and walking is not the same.
What about cognitively?
Oh, it's not good. I mean, ultimately, I'll say, you know, there's literally not one piece of this, of me that this disease doesn't touch. I mean, there'll be times where I'll be talking and then I'll just stop because literally I just can't think of what I was trying to say. And plus, you know, my voice, I don't have the same projection because, you know, my voice gets tired. I mean, it's literally just right down the list of everything.
So it's yeah, like you said, across the board effects. It's not one thing it doesn't affect.
No.
What kind of treatment, if any, you know, do you go to PT, or is it all meds and just kind of go through life?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. And I mean, so I'll run through a little bit of it. So I had to have 3 cortisone shots in my shoulder because I've had problems with that and had, you know, a frozen shoulder. I've had to have one in my elbow because of it. I had to get an AFO for my foot because my knee's hyperextending. So then I had to go to PT to learn how to walk with a brace, which was obviously fun. But as far as any other PT, I mean, I've been to PT to learn how to type better, you know, do buttons. I mean, people probably really take for granted, you know, the minute things, like even me just trying to reach into my pocket to grab my cell phone can be a problem. And I will say, you know, the perspective that I have is that I always know that there's people that have it way worse than me. So, I mean, I think of it like them. And perfect example is when I got my AFO brace and was in physical therapy for that, there was a guy that had just had his leg amputated. So, you know, he's in there, you know, trying to get his leg adjusted and, you know, fit in his prosthetic. And I mean, I'm looking at this guy going, well, Jesus, I mean, I've got it shitty, but this guy's missing a leg. So, I mean, I'm sure his day is probably a little bit worse than mine.
Yeah. Again, perspective. Getting back to work, I know with COVID and everything, how did dealing with this and COVID affect you? And are you in the office, or are you home? And if you're home, would you be going back, or?
We've been at home for 2 years in March. I don't know that we'll go back. I mean, I don't. They really haven't said one way or the other if we're going to have to. I mean, I think they're kind of leaving it up in the air for now. I mean, it's nice to work from home because, you know, I've got the creature comforts of home and it's just comfortable. I mean, I guess the biggest thing for my day-to-day is a set schedule. Like if I get off my schedule, it throws my meds off, it throws my meals off, it just throws everything off. So, you know, being home is kind of nice that I can have, you know, what I need right there all the time.
But you're not just sitting home. I mean, you're at the gym I see your posts. No. You're at the gym at 5, 6 in the morning.
4:15, that alarm goes off, and then 25 snoozes later at 5 o'clock or 4:45, we get up. Yeah, I mean, I've always loved working out. I mean, I used to actually be overweight, and lost 40 pounds, and then I bulked up doing heavy lifting to like 230 and was, much stronger. And then I would cut down to do triathlons. And then, so, now I'm kind of like staying status quo, but yeah, we get up and go to the gym every day. If I don't get up, it's funny because if I don't get up to go to the gym, I get sleep but then my body is so off that it's actually worse for me not to work out.
And you're going every day?
Yeah, we try and go 6 days a week. I mean, we do take Sundays off, and sometimes we do go. It just all depends.
Yeah. Oh, maybe just go a little later in the day.
Yeah, or a little later, and just get a quick session in, whether it's cardio, or just sometimes I'll stretch. I mean, I've just come to be more of like an intuitive work, gym guy now, where I'm not really counting reps or sets. I mean, I just kind of go, and once my body shuts off, because it's literally like a light switch. I mean, I could be lifting fine, and then all of a sudden my energy level's just gone. So I'm like, oh, that's it for me.
I saw one video of you just sitting down on a box and standing up.
Yeah, I had to do that. That was part of learning how to use this brace, because, I mean, I would show you, but it's on my foot. So I'll just...
Yep.
So basically...
Check the kicks, though.
Yeah. So basically what it is when I walk, my foot doesn't lift up. So when I walk, it just slams down into my knee.
Drop foot.
Yeah, drop foot. So I basically had to learn how to maneuver and walk with this. So one of the exercises they were having me do was to literally sit on a box and just stand up, because, with your balance being off and you're, having this disease, I mean, you really have to kind of protect yourself to make sure that you're not putting yourself in bad spots. So, yeah, I mean, that day I just was literally sitting down and standing up on a box, and that was part of my workout.
Have you gotten hurt? Have you gone down and gotten hurt?
I actually have. So one night we were at home, and I stood up, passed out, fell back, hit my head, got knocked unconscious, broke my thumb. Didn't even know what happened. And she heard me, and I heard the big thud, and then she came running out. And yeah, other than that, I mean, I haven't really gotten hurt yet, because I mean, I'm probably more overcautious than anything, because I just know how bad my balance is, that I wouldn't dare do some of the stuff that I would do before, because I just know it's going to be a bad situation. Yeah.
Well, talk to me about just your general outlook on life going forward, and are there things that you're doing today, like you said, get busy living or get busy dying, right? Are you fast tracking some things or pulling some things forward, like hey, I might like to go see the Grand Canyon someday. I've never done that, but are you saying, hey, I'm going to do that now because I may not be able to enjoy that later?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really started to do that too much as of yet, but I mean, I'd be lying if I said it's not in the back of my mind. I mean, I keep saying to Nikki, I'm like, I just want to make sure that, we're taken care of, because I don't know, I know for a fact that I'm not going to be able to work till I'm 65 or whatever most normal people do. So, I'm just really concerned with making sure that I don't leave us in a lurch, because, if I'm 46 now and I'm already having the issues I'm having at work, I mean, it's coming. I think that's probably one part of this disease and one part of my life that's the hardest to digest, to comprehend, and to really grasp, is I have no idea what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. It's kind of like you driving in a car and you're worried about getting hit by another car. Like, I don't know if I've got 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I mean, I could go from being how I am now to 5 years from now having dementia and being homebound. I mean, there's just no way to know, and the doctors can't tell you, because there's no timetable. There's no, I mean, that's the biggest mental mind F of the whole thing, truly.
Right. Yeah, and there's no answer to it, and everybody's rate of progression is different.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I go to the neurologist every 3 months, so I mean, I'm in there 4 times a year, and he runs me through the tests. And it's funny, because if I'm in there and my meds are on, I look like a champ.
Right.
And then I go home and I'm all effed up and I can't move, and it's like, well, Jesus, I just was in there and I looked great. And he's like, oh, you're moving great. And it's like, for Nikki, she sees me all the time, so she sees me at my best and sees me at my worst. Like, for people that don't see me all the time, they may see me and be like, oh, you look like you're doing great, but then they're not going to see me when I get up in the morning and I'm doing the Frankenstein shuffle, because my feet aren't working. And then I had to get a cordless toothbrush or electric toothbrush, because my hand just literally won't. I wasn't able to brush my teeth anymore, which sounds juvenile, but I mean, that's just reality.
Well, you're just making modifications and accommodations, and I have to wonder. I mean, you came down with it and diagnosed with it at a time in your life where you're pretty healthy. I mean, I guess my question is, like, what would this look like if you were 350 pounds and smoked and drank, and I wonder what kind of...
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that, if you have this and you let it take you over and consume you, it's very ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't have the, you know, like I said, if I didn't have Nikki and people around me that kept me motivated and just myself keeping myself motivated, I could see where people could really go down some dark, dangerous places and really just kind of give up. Because I'll be honest, the only time that I feel good is when I'm asleep.
Wow.
I mean, like right now, my leg is shaking.
Yeah.
I mean, I drive in the car and my leg falls asleep. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's not good. It's not a pleasant thing. I mean, I wouldn't wish this on President Biden. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. I mean,
Right.
I don't care if the, you know, how much I don't dislike them. I mean, it's just an
Right.
ugly disease. It's just,
Wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy.
no, because it encapsulates every part of my life. I mean, there's nothing that this doesn't affect, which
Yeah.
is the crazy part of it. I mean, if you know, certain symptoms and diseases that people have, it may only affect one thing, but I mean, I could just run down the list of everything that it affects, and it.
Right, and I mean, it's not cancer, but hey, some cancers you can beat.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
This
this thing's
isn't-
not going anywhere.
It's not going away, and you're learning to live with it and accommodate it. You got to recognize that it's there. Every day is a new adventure.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned Nikki. She's here. Let's grab her and bring her in for a minute, and talk a little bit about that. Slide over just a little bit if you can, Jamie. Bring Nick in.
Hi.
So this is Nikki,
Hi. Don't
and
mind my
this is the better half.
Yes, the more attractive half.
Not right now.
You way outkicked your coverage too, by the way.
Yes.
So welcome. Thanks for coming on. And
Thank you for having me.
as we said, you guys have been together about 5 years, and he's had this 4 years. I mean, how did that land on you? And you know, how did you feel when that came down? And oh my God, here we go. And that's a lot.
I mean, the first thing for me was being there for him, but the biggest thing was his kids to me,
Right.
because they are like his everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, when this was diagnosed, that was a really hard thing for him to tell them. For me, I loved him through thick and thin, so I'm just going to be by his side no matter what.
Right. Clearly.
It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter to me what.
Well,
happens.
yeah, I mean, he's lucky to have you. I follow you guys on social media, and it's is it Fit IT Couple, Fit
Yeah, I
underscore
think it's
IT.
fit
He made
underscore it underscore couple.
Yeah, we'll put it in the notes. But you guys are a fun follow, as the kids say. But you know, you're part of this, and you're keeping him going. And you know, are there days when he needs a kick in the ass, and are you delivering that? Is there a tough balance with the tough love and the compassion and empathy?
I mean, he is way more positive than I could ever imagine. He actually kicks me in the ass every day.
Yeah.
So, just like he doesn't let anything get him down. So that's a huge thing. I mean, he's very positive. He has a schedule, as he's mentioned a few times.
Yep.
So if he's not throwing that off, then I feel guilty because he's not feeling well. His work, he doesn't feel comfortable. And I mean, for me, it's just making sure we follow that. And if we do, then he's good. I mean, I am a few years younger than him, so there are a few things I'd like to go out and do. But, I mean, in the long run, am I missing going out to dinners and bars with my friends? Yeah, but am I with the person I love and that needs me? 100,000% more important to me than any of that.
It's weird. It sounds like he's doing as much for you as you are for him.
Oh, absolutely. And we
Get away
still
from it.
we still do go out and dance, but the problem is I'm kind of just doing the stand there, or I'm like
I saw you dancing in the Super Bowl
I
halftime
did.
show.
Yeah,
on
I
social.
can dance better than most people.
I popped up, but yeah, can't stay out till 1 o'clock anymore. So it's like, hey, let's go from like 9 to 11 or 9 to 10:30, and then you know, just my body tells me when it's time to go, and it's
Right.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'll give you both credit, and you know, from your chair, that you know, if the relationship wasn't as strong as it probably was, some people probably wouldn't sign up for that, you know, and wouldn't hang around. I mean, to be blunt, kudos to you, and it's nice to see that, you know, the relationship is going to outlast this. Clearly.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I know he mentioned a fall earlier, and that was probably the scariest thing for me because his son Noah was living with us at the time, and Noah hadn't really seen anything really bad.
Yeah, tough.
And like the change in his eyes, it broke me
Yeah.
because that child, you were everything to him, and it just like finally hit him, and it killed me.
How has it gone with the kids? You have 4 kids,
Yeah.
and all grown up, and you know, how has that gone with them? And I'm sure each one of them probably has digested it a little bit differently. See dad struggling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's tough. I mean, you know, it's one of those things that if you're not around it all the time, I mean, it's easy to probably,
Yeah.
you know, take it and just put it in its place. But you know, it's when you you know, for her or myself, I mean, living with it every day and all day, it's just different. You know, because even like my dad, I mean, I see him quite a bit, but I mean, there's no way for somebody who doesn't see you on a day-to-day basis to realize like what it's really like, you know. So I just, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you just hope that you can, you know, love them and do as much as you can while you can, and then, you know, it's obviously going to at some point not be the case.
Right. Do you reach out to, are there any support groups, or are there anything that you do within the Parkinson's community, if you will, that help you, or that you've kind of grabbed onto, or are you just rolling on your own on this thing?
I'm just rocking it till the wheels fall off at this point is what I say. I mean, I just, it's tough because
You got
I
some
mean,
perspective.
you know, most of the people that have this disease are, you know, like we've said, are 20 and 30 years older than I am. So it's a hard perspective to, you know, to have somebody that's my age that, you know, was an athlete that's, you know, doing triathlons and stuff, to all of a sudden have this where, you know, it's just a different perspective.
Well, somebody that comes down with it at, you know, mid-60s or something at least they've got 60, 65 years behind them, right?
Right.
They're in theoretically in the last third of their life. You got it and just kind of starting the second half of your life.
Right.
And so that's not fair, really. Not
No.
fair, you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
for me personally, I'm that person that's like researching everything that could,
Right.
you know, fix, like he could
Never know.
you
Yeah.
know, and of course it's probably irritating to him because I'm like, nope, they're gonna fix it. You're gonna be fine. So like I'm like probably in the denial aspect of it, even though I know it's there. But it's just like if I crack, it'll be worse for him. So you got to stay strong for your
Yeah, I mean,
partner.
I'm hopeful that something will happen, but you know, I just got to be realistic in the fact that I can't build it up too much, because if it doesn't happen, then that's gonna be crushing to myself. Like if I think that down the line, you know, boy, I just got 5 more years and then this thing's gone. Where realistically,
Right. You can muscle through it or grind it out.
yeah, where realistically, I mean, I've just got to go into it, you know, hoping for the best, but expect the worst.
I mean, you were in the military, right? In the
Yeah.
Army. So I'm sure that, I mean, you're no stranger to getting through tough stuff.
No,
You know?
no, and it's funny. My Army life was, I was a human research volunteer, so I sat in cold water and cold ice chambers and tested stuff and drank solutions and did all kinds of crazy stuff.
Jesus.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it was an experience.
Yep. What's you know, it's kind of a cliche question, but is there? I mean, you know, you have a routine. What's a typical day? You guys are up. You go into the gym. You come back. You work. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so basically it starts with hitting the snooze button, as I said, 20 or 30 times, not really that many times, but
I can
you know,
understand it.
No,
yeah.
so-
So get up, you know, take my first set of meds, you know, get our stuff ready for the gym, go to the gym, usually work out probably an hour or so, come home, take more meds, have some cannabis to get me through, and then, you know, we work, you know, basically have the same set eating schedule, I mean, every day, and then, you know, whatever we do at night, and then bed early because we got to get up the next day.
When you're eating clean, you must be eating clean.
Eating clean, yeah. No, we're on Foley's fitness diet plan. So,
Yep.
no, I mean, it's, you know, I've been doing that for a while, not necessarily through him, but trying to eat clean. Because one of the other things about this is like my appetite's just literally not there. So,
Right.
you know, and plus the other part to that too is that, you know, for most people that work out, you know, the big thing is eating protein. Well, if I eat protein, then that negates some of the effects of my meds. So,
Yeah.
it's just yeah.
All over the place.
All over the place. So if I eat a huge protein meal and I take my meds near that meal, the meds aren't working as well. So
Well, I appreciate you sitting down, just taking some time to do this.
Oh, absolutely.
When I started this podcast, I said to Mitchell behind the camera, I said, I'm going to find 52 people that I think are extraordinary. And you were like one of the first 2 or 3 people that came to my mind. And one might say, well, it must be somebody that's done a bunch of marathons. It must be somebody that's, that has all these athletic accomplishments. It's quite the opposite, really, because what you're doing every day far outweighs anything that I've seen from anybody athletically or just in life. And to be able to have the attitude that you have is inspiring to me. It's just amazing. What would you say to somebody that's watching this that is struggling with something, whether it just be in life or whether they're struggling with an illness, and having a hard time putting one foot in front of the other?
I mean, I think your attitude and your mind can be your best friend and your worst enemy. If you let certain thoughts overcome you and succumb to negative thoughts and negative processing and putting yourself in bad positions, I mean, that really can be a huge detriment to you. I mean, I try and take every day and make it as good as I possibly can, because like I said, I know for a fact that there are people that have life way worse than I do. I mean, I have a great wife, I have a very good job, I have a great family, I still have my mental capabilities as much as possible, and I have a set amount of things that I can do, and I'm going to do those. And yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's been a couple people, this is only our fourth one, and there's been a couple people so far that I'd like to have back on it, to wrap up the year too. And I hope that we can sit down and do
absolutely.
this again. It's been amazing. It's been, eye-opening, tough. I mean, I went over some of these questions with you before we sat down, and I said, is there anything that you don't want me to ask? And you said, no, let it rip. So
yeah, I'm pretty much an open book. I mean, I look at it like, I mean, this is my life, and I mean, I'm sure that there's people out there that are struggling with similar things, or maybe have a relative and don't know how to act towards them and stuff. And it's like, I think a lot of people will ask her questions about me instead of just asking me, and I have no problem. I mean, I'm the one that lives it. I mean, it's not like I did anything to get this. It just happened. And if I can help people and motivate people, I mean, I just think people are capable of a lot more than they probably give themselves credit for. And even just getting out of bed and going to the gym is a chore.
Right.
So it's like, just getting there is half the battle. I mean, for people that aren't in shape, or, want to start losing weight, or, get in shape, or whatever your reasoning behind it is, you can do it. You just got to do it. I mean, there's a million reasons as to why people can or don't want to do stuff. But, if you kind of strip some of those back and say, really what's holding me back, it's probably so minuscule in the grand scheme of life that, when you talk to other people, or, you see these people that were in the Gulf War or whatever that are missing both arms and legs, and they're still amputated and, have prosthetics, and they're still, kicking ass. I mean, it's like, look at that guy.
Right.
Why can't I do that? I have, both my arms, my legs, I'm healthy, and I'm still choosing not to do something that I'm wanting to do for
capable of doing
whatever reason.
Right.
Take away the obstacles for why you think you can't do something, and just do it.
I alluded to, doing some things that you may not be able to do later. Is there a bucket list item that you might check off sometime in the next couple of years?
I mean, the problem is physically, I mean, all of those things are probably already gone.
Yep.
I mean, but I haven't really come up with anything as of yet. I'm sure there's some stuff on the list. I mean,
maybe Nikki can come up with something.
Yeah,
so.
It's just traveling. It's
tough.
Yeah, it's just tough because I think that we try and do everything that we want to do now. I mean, as far as the big bucket item list, haven't really come up with anything yet.
Yep. Anything from you? I'll give you a lot of credit. I mean,
he's the main. He does it all himself. I just am his little cheerleader, but.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, he has a grandbaby coming, so I think for him, spending that quality time.
Your grandfather, boy or a girl?
Girl.
Nice.
So I think that's major.
Yep.
I mean, I'm a huge believer in family, so for me, that's a massive, massive thing.
Yep.
Tough.
There he is. He had to make an appearance.
Of course.
Might as well get him in the mix.
Yeah. No, just for me, just spending time with family, being with I have an amazing group of friends that love and adore him so much, and they always check in and make sure he's okay. One of my best friends, Chelsea, is an occupational therapist, so she just kind of takes the mama roles a lot of the time. All my friends are so supportive every day, and I appreciate them for loving him as much as they do, and his friends are great. But for me, the bucket list is just family, spending time with friends, doing things we've wanted to do, and you know, this is a marriage that I've wanted my entire life, so I finally have it. So that's really all that matters to me, is being with him.
That's right. Well, good for you. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming.
No, we appreciate it. It's a great forum to, you know, get a story out there, and you know, if it can touch a couple people, that's, you know, it's important.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, and it's kind of what I set out to do. You know, I've done some coaching and done, you know, always seemed to be that kind of guy that's out gathering people and saying, hey, let's do this. And this just kind of spoke to me and said, you know, I kind of just got to do this. And it started with Mitchell and I doing videos, and he came in one day. We've said this before, but he came in one day and I said, we're doing a podcast. So, and so
ready, go.
Yeah, here we go. So that's kind of the way I've dove into a lot of things in life, and it always usually works out. So, and then that there being doing that right there led to this. Yeah. So it's all, you just, sometimes you don't know where you're headed with things, and you just do it, and you just jump, and I'm glad we did. So thanks for coming. Thank you guys for listening. We'll put some notes in the bio, the write-up, the copy, whatever. Mitchell's trying to tell me what to say. I don't really know. I'll put some notes in, and you can follow these guys on Instagram, mostly Instagram, I think.
Yes.
They're fun. They're at the gym every day. You can pull some motivation from them. I do. I'm like, I ought to go to the gym today, but shit, there's Jamie. He's at the gym already. Drive over and still miss him. So, but anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for checking this out. I just thank you guys again, and we'll follow your journey, and
we appreciate
stay in touch.
No,
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Take care.